Hello again. Are your moments of insight coming from the flick of a light switch or the twist of a dimmer switch? We often talk about light bulb moments, the experience of a sudden flash of revelation, understanding or seeing the world in a new way. It's like a light being switched on. Suddenly everything becomes clear. This happens a lot in coaching, usually through a well-chosen, insightful question. It might be more appropriate to call these light switch moments, since they're not the only way you can experience powerful insights. Sometimes these insights come more gradually over an extended period of time, a time of reflection, or through a number of conversations where you explore and revisit a subject or idea. Instead of being illuminated in a sudden flash, the light bulb comes on gradually, like slowly twisting the dial on a dimmer switch. To experience a light switch moment, you just have to be in the room. Someone else flicks the switch for you. But with the dimmer switch, while someone else might be providing the power for your bulb to light up, you have a responsibility to keep turning the switch to let the power through. So what do we do with that idea? For one, we can start paying attention to thoughts to which we keep returning. Thinking over the last few weeks, what have been those healthy conversations you seem to be repeating? They've been good, but never quite seem to reach a conclusion. You recognise there's more in them that you've yet to discover. Where you have that sense that clarity is emerging, don't rush it. Give it time to emerge. The reason we have lights on a dimmer switch is so that we can give them time to bring the gift of their illumination. I'm reminded here of what Pope Francis describes as a fruitful thought. This is one that is, in his words, always unfinished in order to give space to subsequent development. The beauty of a dimmer switch thought is that it is, by its very nature, a slow thought. Slow thinking allows you to take in a new scenario as it unfolds. This isn't just its beauty, it's the gift that such thinking offers us. What unfinished thoughts do you find yourself being drawn back to? Don't be frustrated that they resolutely refuse to complete themselves. Be patient. Allow them to grow and mature and bring their clarity through the process of emergence. Another way of helping ourselves to dial up our dimmer switches is to reflect on a past period of experience. Over the last year to 18 months, many of us have not only adapted to living life at a different pace and rhythm, but have also reflected on how we might want to live life in a different way. It's as if the very experiences we've had have themselves been speaking to us about our priorities and our life choices. Rather than being a particular seminal moment at which the world took on a new light, it's been more the case we've come to realise that the world will not come to a standstill if we choose to configure our lives differently. Through your experience, rather than through your thinking, what's gradually come into clearer focus for you over the last year, which means you see the world with greater clarity and in a new light. A third way of connecting with slowly enlightening thoughts is to pay attention to your dreams. There have been a number of occasions when what I've been dreaming about has been particularly salient, pertinent and significant, and contributed decisively to decisions I've made. Here's one example. I'd started to realise that my involvement with a particular organisation was coming to an end. I didn't know what to lay beyond that involvement. There were various loose ends to tie up, and I wasn't clear how or when I would need to bring this all to a conclusion. It was in that time that I had one of those vivid dreams that you remember when you wake up. In this dream, I was in an old railway carriage, the kind that has individual compartments. I was the only person in the compartment and realised that the train was pulling into a station. It was my stop to disembark. I took a minute to tidy up, pack all my stuff up, walk to the carriage door to get off and press the exit button. Nothing happened. The train had started to pull out of the station and the door had locked. There was nothing for it but to wait for the train to stop again. I went back to my compartment, and when the train did stop, I couldn't see a platform. I heard the cleaners coming down the corridor to tidy the train and realised I was in a siding. Happily, this time the exit door did open and I was able to get off. But I was now faced with the tedious and inconvenient prospect of finding my way back to my destination. In my dream, I remember saying to myself, "That's far too much trouble, I just need to wake up." It was one of those curious moments when I suddenly realised I was dreaming and could choose to stop. As I reflected on the dream over the next couple of days, I concluded that this dream was pertinent to the question I was asking myself about when to disengage from the organisation I was relating to. It became clear that if I didn't move quickly, I was likely to end up on a siding, not lost but temporarily trapped in a place from which it would be difficult and time-consuming to find a new path. And if I didn't tidy up all the loose ends before I left, well, what of it? It really wasn't that important. There are, after all, people around who efficiently and routinely tidy up after you leave a train. That's not quite the end of the story, and if you want to know the rest of it, you'll have to ask me, but suffice to say, my dream was like a dim light, gradually becoming brighter, bringing clarity and focus to a question which was, for me, highly salient and significant. I mentioned earlier the need to be patient with our slow thoughts. Think of it like this. You can't accelerate the sunrise. The dawn breaks in its own good time and we just have to wait for it. But what we can do is keep our eyes on the horizon to look for the first light of the new day as it, quite literally, dawns on us. So by returning to unfinished thoughts, listening to the messages afforded by a phase of life, or paying attention to your dreams, how is your own personal light switch being dialed up? What's appearing through the light on your horizon? What is starting to dawn on you?